Yeah. So after Deshaun Watson's 11-game suspension over sexual misconduct claims, he's coming back this week to face his former team, the Houston Texans. He said, they asked him about like what he thinks he's gonna get from the fans, and he's like, I'm just focused on the game plan. I just want to get a win. They're in a middle of the row spot, like 4-7, I believe. What are you expecting from these fans?
It's gonna be a shit show, dude. We were talking about this a little bit before, and it's like, okay, in preseason, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Jacksonville is not known as a like sports town, like, oh, we're route, like it is not. And they were chanting, "You sick fuck, you sick fuck." At this game, the opposing lawyer that had was that represented the women is gonna have a box. And there, 10 women are going to be watching the game. And their message is, hey, we still know what you did. We still want to hold you accountable. We're not going anywhere. So, with that energy coupled with going against his former team, who he pretty much did shit on the entire time he sat out, I'm expecting super hostile environment. What about you?
Yeah, I don't know what to expect from the 10 women sitting in the game. Everyone's saying like that's weird. Why would they go? But I guess you're saying it's more of like in a protesty situation.
Yeah,
So that's going to be interesting to see play out and how much coverage that actually gets, because the NFL, like the second they gave out the suspension, like I don't think we've heard anything from Deshaun or like anything about it. No one's talked about this in all season. So now we're going to see, is this a story that's going to die out, or is this going to a story that's going to live with Deshaun the rest of the season going into next year? And I really think this is going to sound terrible, but I think it depends on his play. Like if he's good, this story will get buried. That's just kind of how pro sports goes, unfortunately. But if he plays bad, look at how bad they're shitting on Russell Wilson. Like people are gonna they're only gonna like pick more and more at this story if the worst he plays, because they're gonna say, look, Browns, you took a chance on this guy, and with all this stuff going on, and it didn't pay off. So really, I don't know what to expect. It's gonna be first game back, definitely gonna be something crazy from the fans.
and not only did you do that, like you took a chance, like, oh, okay, well, it's one thing if you like, hey, you know what, this is a guy who he made some mistakes, we're going to take a flyer on him, we're going to do a 1 year deal, it's going to be $3 million, like just low risk high reward. I can get on with that. Hey, we'll figure it out. But you did a deal with the devil on this one. You gave him like the first year because you knew he was going to be suspended, low money, and then you gave him the rest of his deal guaranteed at high money. That's a piece of shit move. You're a piece of shit franchise. So, like, it is what it is. And the decision has been made, and they really do think that this guy is going to take them to the next level. It's obviously not going to be this year. I think they're kind of out of contention, but depending on how he looks, it could get very ugly very quick, just knowing the sentiment around this guy and around this team and what people think.
And it's gonna be interesting to see how the Browns fans like accept him in, and his teammates accept him in. And I mean, and we know everything was it's like alleged. It's a lot of different levels to the case. I'm just of the mindset, like you go back and watch our other videos, we did think like he did wrong in these situations. If anything, I don't know what happened in those rooms, but he did put himself in bad situations by talking to this many women and setting up himself in the like this situation. It was just a little grimy of what he was doing, and regardless of there was like a crime committed or something wrong, he was putting himself in these like sexual situations. That
Yeah.
fair to say?
Yeah, that is fair
It
to say.
as like a professional athlete and celebrity, I don't think you should be, trying to get massages from a bunch of Instagram models, like 40, 50, 100. I don't know how many he was talking to, but and there's ways you go about it as a celebrity to keep it more low key. and he was just kind of a loose cannon, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's more than anything, it's like the power dynamic, and I'm not even going to get into like any of this stuff, but just talking about what it's going to be like on the field for him, it's gonna be heavy. So there's going to be a lot of hate. Obviously, you've seen the Browns fans, like some of them have backed him up in like real skeezy ways, and it just doesn't feel right. Nothing about it like feels right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, only time will tell. I don't know how the women are going to play out, like the ones that were doing all the allegations and going through this lawsuit. I don't know how they're going to play out in all of this story, but definitely on the field, it is like Deshaun Watson needs to produce in order to win over like this franchise, like the fan base, the team, and like he needs to be the guy that they risked it all for.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
he's also a quarterback. We have like no one's even said he hasn't played in 2 seasons, two and a half.
Yeah.
So will he be like a top 10 quarterback? Will he be top 15? We don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, dude. I just think one, you can't be out of the game for that long and still be at the top tier. I obviously there's going to be some rust to shake off, but how like does he ever get it back? Does he ever get back to the point where he was prior to him sitting out like almost a year and a half?
I mean, we're gonna see how he looks on Sunday. It's gonna be one of the biggest games of his career, probably the biggest
Yeah.
against a bad team. So it's really gonna be a low bar performance wise for him to look amazing.